You're listening to the Marketing Playbook from the More Than More podcast. We are here to help you simplify your strategy, build your brand, and position yourself as the agent of choice. Let's start the conversation. All right. Staci and Abbie here.
Hello.
Our marketing team. We haven't got to do a podcast, just the two of us yet. This is our first one together, right?
This is our first one. I'm excited.
This is very cool. We are here today to talk about brand audits. Dun, dun, dun.
Oh my goodness.
Everybody's favorite. It sounds so exciting. It actually is. It is pretty fun. We think it's fun, but it's just that time of year. We've talked a lot about business planning in the last few weeks. There's been a lot of new resources that have come out. Pretty geared around just general health and holistic overview of your business, leads, money, systems, team. Now your marketing team gets to get in on the fun, which is just so exciting.
Love it.
Yes. So today is all about brand auditing, which also means all your stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
But so we are going to reference pretty closely our brand audit checklist, which is a resource available to everybody in the Forge. It came out in the newsletter a couple of weeks ago, and we'll also include it here in the show notes. But we'll follow the format of that fairly closely so that you can also use it yourself. And so I think we just dive right in, right?
Yeah, let's get into it.
Okay. First and foremost, my disclosure always, if you have been around for a few years, you remember our This Is Marketing course teachings. We haven't taught it in a couple of years. It's been a little bit. It's kind of a big,
kind
abstract,
of an overarching topic to just explain.
It's a big, hard idea.
Incredible book though.
Incredible book. Seth Godin, This Is Marketing. It's the basis for our marketing philosophy for how we do everything. The reason I'm starting there is just a reminder that a brand is not just your stuff. We are going to talk about your stuff today, right? Your print pieces, your digital spaces, all of those things, because all of those things reinforce your brand. But your brand is not the things that you have. It's your story, right? It's the story that you tell a very specific audience that you have clearly defined. It's the story you tell over and over to them about your business, how you can help solve their problems, answer their questions, and how you continuously just reinforce that story, right?
Yeah. And it's also kind of how they view you as well. So it's like kind of that two-way
interpretation of you,
yes,
right?
Yeah. And I feel like brand is like such a
so abstract.
And it's so hard to explain. And like when you go to school for marketing, you like always get asked, what is a brand? And it's like, well,
everybody goes, it's your logo, it's your colors, it's the font that you use.
Yep.
And it's your slogan.
And it's so much more than that. And that's kind of the cool part about the brand audit is exactly like what you said. You have all of these little pieces and it's understanding how they work together to communicate that message and how all of your people view it. So it's just a really cool time of year to do this, and I'm excited to get into it.
So this is my point even to say, if you don't even have your brand defined, really, I would push pause here and think about that. We do have some older marketing episodes that talk about brand and This Is Marketing and how to define your audience. So you can go back and find those. We can link to those as well. But before we even get into this, just define yourself, right? What do you want people to think, feel, know about you and your business? What audience are you trying to reach? What problem are you solving for them? None of the rest of this is gonna help, right? If those things aren't defined first. So just a plug for that, just to define brand a little more definitively.
And those types of things, until you actually sit down and start thinking about them, it's hard to put into words. It's the same thing as like defining brand. Yeah. So it's definitely spending some time and actually thinking through that. It seems like, easy, but it's harder than you think it is. And it's a really important first step to get going on the rest of this stuff.
Yeah. And the reason we talk about brand, this is also in your newsletter, so I know that people have maybe seen it. But the reason your brand is so important, being clearly defined, being clearly reinforced, is the results to your business, right?
Right.
So we've identified the three big things. I mean, there's a lot of results to your business, but the three big impacts that a strong, consistent brand brings is, first, just trust and recognition. People start to know who you are. They start to trust that the story you tell them is true and that you deliver on the results that you promise. They recognize you wherever they see you, whether that's a print piece, online, in person, when they get your pop by, all of those things, right? It just reinforces, this is me, this is who I am, this is what I provide for you.
Yeah.
Also just visibility, right? If you remember from our Jason Pantana teachings and workshops that, hey, you're that agent, I see you everywhere. It's that top of mind awareness that recognizable, consistent, reinforced brand begins to bring. Which also just number 3 then is consistency. They're seeing the same thing. They're feeling the same thing. They're getting the same message everywhere they see you, rather than disjointed pieces that feel different, that maybe they don't connect as you.
Yes. And in the noisiness that is the world today, that consistency, it was like the power of 7. People need to see your stuff over and over and over again before they start to form that like
recognition, that connection, that trust. Yeah. So your brand is important, and it's more than just the things, but we are going to get into the things now because those help, right? Those reinforce.
But starting off strong, we have our brand basics, which are kind of the initial,
literally the basics
of your brand. So this is kind of what we've been joking about. This is like your headshots, your logos, all that fun stuff. You have your email and your voicemail in there, and I feel like your brand basics is really where that trust and recognition first starts to come out.
Yeah.
And just when you have these pretty simple basics worked out and they're professional and they're put together, people are going to trust that and trust you and your ability to be a realtor for them based off these basic things, which is kind of funny.
Which is funny because people don't notice these things until they're wrong, right? If someone sees your headshot that is maybe significantly out of date,
yes,
and then they meet you for the first time and those things don't match, there's disconnect there, right? Or if your email signature has links that don't work or things that should be linked, and there's that pain points start to pop up, right? If your voicemail is outdated or your voicemail box is full, like I can't, like that still happens, right? Like these little things that seem so silly for us to sit here and say, hey, you should make sure your headshot like looks like you.
Yeah.
But you do notice these things when they don't work. It stands out like a sore thumb, right?
Definitely. And it's like the attention to detail. You want a real estate agent that sees that stuff and pays attention to the details and catches that stuff. So just remembering to think through all that stuff, even though it is basic and it is simple, it's really easy to make mistakes on.
It is. And that's okay. That's why you have your brand audit. You can fix it. And Staci is our resident photographer. If you need a new headshot, if you want lifestyle photos, a whole new you, new year, new you, she's here to help. So
let me know.
Make sure your basics are in order, right? Number 2, print essentials. So, I mean, digital world, we still use a lot of print things. I mean, most off the top of the head, business cards and yard signs, right? Yes. Always the most basic. The first things that anybody who joins us is the first thing we sit down with them and make sure that they have. Take a look. I mean, if your business cards have been languishing in your desk drawer for the last year, maybe look at them. And if you're not going to use them, maybe switch to digital business cards. This is the time. But if you are going to use them, check, like, is your office address the same? Is your domain the same? Is your headshot right? Do
you have enough? I feel like this is one thing that always kind of cracks me up when agents come to me is they went to go grab some business cards to share and they had like 1, maybe 2 left. It's just not something you think to have inventory of, but definitely think through that.
Well, there's so many things you can do with your business cards now, like have a QR code on there that links out to your home bot or your website or wherever you want to send people. Like there's just a lot you can do there if you're still using print business cards.
Right.
Just to take a look, dust them off, take a look at them. And then yard signs for sure. Obviously things come up last minute, but just take inventory of your stuff. Do you need more signs? Are you running low? Are they beat to crap because they've been out in the yard in the winter, in the wind and all that stuff?
Yeah. And then as with everything, you can find easy, quick links to our business cards and our yard sign order form in the Forge. Just not right there on the homepage. It's on like the right-hand side. So if you're wondering where to get those, head there.
Yeah. Yard signs are always one of those like, oh crap, I don't have them. I need them now.
Yes.
And those are big. So make sure you just take inventory, make sure they still look good. And we're happy to help get you reordered and restocked if need be.
Always.
And then I think one of the more important things too is your client pieces. Like we think print and we think postcards and flyers and those things. Yes, look at those, but just your client packets. When's the last time you audited your buyer packet, your seller packet, your presentations? Do they need to be updated? Not just with your information, but just the content that's in them. I know we've put out just so much stuff in the last year. The affordability content that came out this summer, could those be added into your first time home buyer pack? Like there's just so many things to look at. I would flip through all of your stuff, make sure it's all in one place, easily printed on the go, on the fly, what new things could be added in there. All of the resources that we share with you that are client and market relevant are all in the Forge. So you should be able to print them out from there and put them into your presentations. But you just need to upgrade your Moxie presentation, we're here to help too. We can help you get started.
Yeah. And I think with some of these bigger pieces, like your presentations and stuff, once you have it done, it's easy to be like, okay, this is done. Let's move on to the next thing. But it's just
you should always go back every couple months.
Yeah, just continuous improvement.
Just look at them.
Just always making sure that exactly what you said. You have updated resources. We put a lot of stuff out, and just making sure you know what's in there as well. I feel like it's sometimes easy to remember.
You don't notice it until you're sitting with a client, and then you go, "Oh, that's not right anymore." And
you're like, maybe I should change that, and then you get out of the meeting and you really forget about it.
So just take a look at those, and then all of your other print essential, your postcards, your flyers, your pop-by tags. If you just print off a ton and have them, anything that you have that you're printing, giving to people, presenting, make sure it's relevant, make sure it's up to date, not just with the basics, but even just the content. Give it all a once over. And
then just little gentle reminder, print marketing. So some of those postcards, flyers, all that fun stuff, I would send you to Express Docs in 21 Online in the Productivity Hub. That's a really great place to start if maybe you haven't been doing this in the past, but they have some great templates, great ability to create like address lists and stuff. So if you need kind of a first step, definitely check out Express Docs.
Mm-hmm. Those are your print pieces. Moving right along, digital, never ending.
Digital marketing.
Oh
my goodness. Right? Yeah.
Digital is big. So there's a lot of chunks to this. And I think you just made a good point. We tend to set things up, whether it's your website, whether it's your postcard, and then you're like, oh, I'm done. I don't have to come back to this. Mm-hmm. And these are living, breathing representations of your brand, right? Yes. They need to be updated fairly regularly. So starting first with the agent website, you all have Moxie sites.
Yes.
Maybe some of you have created custom sites elsewhere. Totally fine. You can have a website wherever you want to have a website. But it's time to go through it. So run through your website. What's old, what's outdated, what needs to be refreshed.
Biggest thing here, I would say, your headshots, your bios. Bios are a big thing, and that I kind of notice we tend to just kind of let fall to the back burner. So just remember those are updated. So your years are updated and you're talking currently. And
I know a lot of people still use the templated bio that comes with the Moxie site, that's fine.
Yeah.
But I would highly recommend personalizing it, even if it's a small paragraph at the end, literally introducing yourself.
Yes.
Because those they can't be personalized, right? They're templates. So just jump in there and add something about yourself.
And the nice thing is that's kind of the point of our websites, right? Is you don't necessarily have to do anything to them. Like they're already great, but it's building your brand and it's inputting pieces of yourself and your personality and the way you think about real estate into there. It just adds those levels of personalization that people are going to connect with. And then it comes recognition and brand awareness and all those fun buzzwords.
And then basics, right? Make sure your domain is still, like you purchase domains with us, and then we usually set them up to auto renew. But if they're not set up to auto, make sure your domain's still going to there. Once in a while, I do find people's domains are not renewed and they're broken, and you don't notice it till someone says, "Hey, your website's down."
Yep.
It's really not. So just go through, how can you connect your website everywhere else? How can you direct people to your social? How can you direct them to leave reviews for you? Like just go through with a fine tooth comb. How can you make it even better? How can you make it a resource to people rather than just a blank page that maybe has your listings on it?
Yes, absolutely.
So number 2, this is my personal favorite thing to dig into. I just love Google. I don't know why. Your Google business page is, I actually think it's become more important than your website, personally, because most people's default is to search, right? Your default browsers usually go straight to a search engine. So rather than going to your website, if people are looking for you, they're going to search, and usually the very first thing that pops up is your Google business page, or it should.
And that's like an established, trustworthy thing. Yes. Like people see a Google business page and they immediately know, like, this is from Google, like this is trustworthy. You had to jump through all these hoops to get there.
Yeah.
So it's just that trust versus the website, still some people's first place to find you, but they know like you made that. So it's just kind of like a cool little thought.
Yeah, Google has authority. Go through your business page, make sure it's up to date, make sure it's linking to all the right things. Something to note about Google Business is there's only so much you can control about how it connects. So Google, as it learns about you and as it recognizes your activity and verifies that you're an active business, it will automatically connect to your Facebook page. It will connect to various social platforms. You can't manually do that. You just have to be consistent and good and show up the same everywhere, so that Google goes, oh, this is you on Facebook. Oh, this is you on Instagram. Oh, this is you on TikTok, you know? So just go through, see if you're connected. If you're not, that would be something to note, is that maybe you need to go look at all of your platforms, make sure you're using the same headshot everywhere, the same information everywhere, so that Google can recognize where you are. I would actively use your Google business page. Treat it like a social platform. Make posts there as you have listings, testimonials, updates. I wouldn't post like every little single thing you post to Facebook or Instagram, because it only features so many things. But I would actively use your Google business. At least once a week, I would recommend being in there, touching it in some way, updating it, adding photos, encouraging people to leave reviews. That is a big thing. So Google has a custom link in the back end when you're logged in that you can send to people. It'll take them right to your Google business page. You should already be asking for your testimonials, right, as they get real satisfied. I would highly, highly encourage you to ask for Google reviews as well, because like Staci said, those have authority, those have weight.
Yes.
People see those.
And in Real Satisfied, there's the encourage reviews toggle, and that gives you the option of asking your clients when they get your Real Satisfied email, hey, would you also mind pasting this over into Google reviews? So instead of kind of sending multiple emails asking for this, just that could be something to look into, just to get one nice, concise email.
I always tell people to bribe for reviews in your email. Tell people, like, let me know when you've completed the review, and then you get a gift card. Coffee's on me tomorrow.
Yes. Biggest tip with this that I know we've kind of struggled with agents in the past is don't send a bajillion people to your Google business at once to leave you reviews. Google will not like that. They will flag spam. You. Yeah. They'll think it's spam and weird things will happen. So just
as naturally as the business
organically
occurs, don't ask 50 people at one time, right?
Yes.
If Google is something that you want to dig into, we already have a ton of resources for this. So there is in the brand audit, there's like a list of things that you can do just to build out your Google business page, make it more relevant, make it engageable. And then we do have just more resources in the Forge to help you build up your SEO. So Google for sure. Like I said, I think that's become more important than a website anymore. And then of course, social media. Everybody is waiting for this one, right?
Social media.
The list of social platforms just grows and grows. You have Facebook, you have Instagram. Reels is like in there. Yeah. It's separate, but it's not.
YouTube
and then TikTok,
Shorts.
and then LinkedIn, and then YouTube is a big one. So your social platforms. So we're not digging into like the strategies that you should have, because that's very particular to everybody's business. But just cursory, look at your social platforms. Like I said before, make them consistent. Every platform should have the same headshot, same profile picture. If you can, the same name. Obviously, different platforms to character limits are slightly different, but the same name. You should link out to the same place. You should have pretty much the same bio. Again, character limits might change that slightly, but you should look the same everywhere. It should be easy to find you.
Yes.
Handle as close as possible. Obviously, sometimes that can be hard if somebody's already got your name, but like make it as easy as possible to find you everywhere.
Definitely.
Social is one of those, like, I don't know, everybody kind of complains about it, but we also all kind of love social. Like, it's just
love-hate relationship.
It's a never ending investment in your time, right? So while you're going through there, again, this would be a good time to just think about your strategy. We're not getting into the minutia of it here today, but just your videos, your content. I would do a dive into your analytics while you're here, and just you might as well. You're doing your brand audit. Just what content is working, what's not working. How can you beef it up? Again, the brand audit checklist has a lot of suggestions for how you can build out your social platforms to be more robust, more engageable. So just take a look at that. And again, we're happy to help you think through. And just remember, you don't have to be everywhere.
Yes.
You don't have to be on Twitter/X. You don't have to be on it's not a bad idea, but if it truly is not a good use of your time and you're not actually doing anything with it, don't bother.
Well, it's kind of like our favorite phrase is do less better, you know.
Laughing because we say that all the time and then just ignore it. We just do more.
But that's true. And like social can be really intimidating for a lot of people, especially like when you don't grow up with it. And it's just like Abbie said, there's so many platforms, and each platform has different rules and ratios and how the algorithm changes it. And the best like tip I think that we can give is to plan. So just think through your content, schedule
it
out. But yeah, just pick and choose what's going to work best for you.
I think it goes back to your audience, right?
Yeah.
Your brand, you have to find your audience, your story. Where are they going to be at? If you know that they're on TikTok and YouTube, hey, you might need to like ramp up your video production. If it's grandma and all her friends and they're the ones sending you referrals, they're on Facebook. Go hang out on Facebook. Yeah, don't worry about it.
But it's kind of like the sustainability thing too, is if you try to do and you try to succeed at every single one of these platforms, it's a lot of like pretty good stuff. But when you focus it into those few platforms where your audience is and where you know you can really have like an engaging conversation with your people, that's going to help you win. It's going to help you continue to grow that versus burning out and then just giving all of them up at the same time.
Yeah, social's a lot, we know. Other digital spaces to consider, your syndicate sites, Zillow, Realtor.com, Homes.com, all of those spaces. If you have a CRM, just making sure that your assets are plugged in there correctly, everything looks good. RPR, Real Satisfied, all these other little online tools, online spaces that maybe we don't think about until we actually need it. Just go through, make sure everything is accurate, up to date, working. I would also add in, this isn't explicitly like maybe marketing, it's part of your client experience, but I mean, it is and it isn't. Your emails and your text templates.
Yeah.
For your buyer seller process. If you don't have them, this is the time to build them out. But if you do have them, go through, make sure, again, content is still relevant. Any links that you're sending are working. Everything looks good. Pro tip for everything is check it on mobile. How's it going to look on a cell phone? Because that's where most people are going to read it.
Yep.
Is anything cut off? Is everything visible? Can everything load? All of that stuff. And then, just another push for digital business cards. If you're wasting money on print cards that you're not handing out, but you feel like you need something, digital business cards are super easy. I know quite a few people have started using them. So just a thought. Okay. So brand basics, print basics, digital basics, all the things. There's a lot of things to look through. We have a resource. The resource we've been referring to this entire time, your brand audit checklist. So Staci sent out a newsletter. Yep. November 27th is when it hit your inboxes. So if you'll refer to that, you'll find the brand audit checklist in it. It's also in the Forge. And we do actually have a team lead version of this. So if you are a team lead and you're not sure how to incorporate team members or how to think through the pieces of your brand, co-branding, not co-branding, things like that, we do have a team lead version of this that will just help you think through some of these pieces and your options. So just another resource for you. Yeah. What else is in that newsletter, Staci?
Yeah, so like Abbie said, that hit your inboxes on the 27th, but we also included some end-of-year map templates and tutorials. So just kind of a cool little Google Maps tutorial.
A sales map, like roundup of your, that's a good one.
Just a nice recap of your year highlights. We just kind of talk through why this is important, some different cool ideas that you can do with that. Just always important to celebrate your wins and kind of just show yourself off a little bit and connect with some of your past clients. So we chat through that, and then we also, as always, link all of our content packs. So all of our different Office Canva packs are linked in there, and then we chat through some Canva best practices. So
just good as you're doing your social, like maybe beef up or change of strategy.
As many of you know, and maybe some don't, we release content packs every single month, and each one of our offices kind of gets their own localized pack. So we just talk through some different tips and tricks on how to get the most out of this content and also how to set yourself apart and really succeed on social. So some great info in the newsletter. I definitely recommend checking it out.
Final plug as the brand police. I think most of you have been here in the last year, just as Iowa, the Real Estate Commission has kind of tightened up branding guidelines and requirements, especially as you're going through your social profiles and your digital profiles. It has to be easy for a buyer or seller to easily identify you as a licensed realtor with a clearly identified brokerage. This can be tough with some of the social profiles where your characters are limited, so you can't necessarily type out Staci Stillmunkes, Century 21 real estate agent, right? Yep. So you may have to get a little creative as you're going through. Your print pieces are pretty good. Everybody kind of has those on there, but your digital profiles mostly is where I'm thinking. Make sure that you somehow, some way, even if things are abbreviated or it's in the name or the bio or wherever you choose to put it, it's easy to see that you are a licensed realtor in the state of Iowa, Obviously, you can't always spell that out in limited characters, and that you are an agent with Century 21. That is important. And this can be hard too with teams, because usually they identify themselves as the Staci Stillmunkes team, right? And then you run out of space to say Century 21. You may have to get creative, go through your profiles, make sure that you have identified yourself as a realtor with Century 21 somehow. If you have the space, obviously licensed in the state of Iowa and all that is
each office independently owned and operated.
But recognize that Instagram, TikTok, those places just don't have space for you to do that.
Yeah.
So I would say brokerage for sure.
Yes.
And if Travis disagrees with me, he can be
He'll let you know.
Cop. Yeah, marketing's just out here telling people to live life. I don't know. Okay, so this is your brand audit. Highly recommend going through this as you're doing your business planning, as you're thinking through your marketing strategy for next year. And as always, your marketing team is happy to help with whatever we can assist with.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, guys.
All right, go out there and kill it.
Thanks for listening. We will catch you next time on the Marketing Playbook. For more episodes, resources, and show notes, head to morethanmorepodcast.com.